Here we go again. Category C, Zwift Racing, Innsbruckring Flat Race, 3 laps, 16 miles. My stats, 41 years old, height, weight, power, all there. C, Zwift Power 4 official results. Here's the course profile. Obviously, the predominant feature, the leg snapper climb, about 5 kilometers in. Rest of the course is flat and rolling. Still going to go all around bike here, not going Tron bike. I will probably do the Tron bike if I ever ride this course again. So went Canyon, Air Road, and DT Swiss wheels for a better all-around bike, looking to make sure I make selections on the leg snapper climb and sacrificing a little bit of flat speed for that. Jump right into it. Here we go. Not that hard of a start today. Yeah, I mean, I spike 450 watts, but immediately kind of back off. And this was not a 500-600 watt start, which was nice. So it's nice to get a reasonable human-like start to a race. Big group stayed together through the first part of the race to the leg snapper in the first lap. And I shouldn't say the starts are never easy. This one just, it didn't kill me. So, like I said, at least a reasonable start. And, we're doing 350-ish watts. I see a bike up here on the front, bleeding it out hard, 400 watts. But right around the 1 minute mark, it settles down pretty good. I think people were realizing the selections are going to be made later on the leg snapper, and it's just such a big group. It's not possible to pull away. Why keep digging? So, here we are at a minute, and the pace backs off a bit, and we settle in nicely right into the middle of the pack. And I took a little different tactic. In that I tried to stay a little more towards the middle to back of the group, absorb as much of the draft as possible, not worry about covering moves and patrolling the front of the race. So you'll see that we're going to fast forward to the cobbles and leg snapper, but I'm sitting in comfortably the whole way there, near or just below threshold. Again, threshold for me is about 283 watts. And you can see I'm tacked onto the back of the group. A lot of draft up there, big group. We've still got 35 people together in this, and it's a mix of all different categories. This is a mixed category race, so all categories are represented, taking off at the same time. I'm happy sitting in. Heart rate's now, cruising in the mid 160s. I'm not struggling too bad here. And, conserving every ounce of energy possible. Last time I made a mistake on the leg snapper in the first lap. I was determined to learn from that mistake. I let a gap go that I could have covered, and it never came back. I never saw those racers again. I felt like it was a missed opportunity to race or sprint for the win. So here we are. There's this cobble section. It's just a very, very slight uphill. I think it's all 1-2% stuff. And nobody attacked here. It was all reasonable pace. It's hard work, no doubt, and people are still pushing in the first lap, but no noticeable big attacks came out of this at all. It was reasonable. So I'm still sitting on the back. A little bit of a gap opens up. I poke out a few extra watts here to make sure I stay tacked onto the back of the group as we approach the bottom slope of the leg snapper. And I don't want to let a gap go this time. Like I said, learning from mistakes in the previous race. I knew I could do over 400 watts all the way up this leg snapper. So I kind of settled in at 425, 430, and right away I'm thinking, boy, I'm kind of back in the group a little bit here. I want to watch this, and right here I'm already realizing, oh, there's a gap. This is not good. What I told myself I wouldn't allow to happen. I want to close it out, and so I shoot up north of 500 watts, 550. I want to at least stay with these guys right here. Legs felt good. I was on 3 days rest, so I keep pedaling north of 550 watts. Actually pass almost everyone. Not almost. There's some A group riders way off the front, and I'm thinking, man, can I get up with these two guys? And I decide no. I check the mini map. I let them go. They're B group riders, anyways. Why kill myself? I'm gonna rest. And I do not super tuck there. I thought I would, so I'm catching more wind than I anticipated. I'm seeing the group come behind me. I want to make sure I stay with them, so I got to spin up a little bit and make sure I catch with them and they don't blow by me and drop me. We've got this second small short kick after the downhill from the leg snapper. And here I go again, nearly 500 watts to make sure I don't get dropped. This was scary right here, right into the downhill. I thought, oh no, but I do. Actually spike up to 600 for a second and I'm back on. That was a hard effort there. All of that is very taxing. Heart rate's north of 180 now. Happy I'm with the group, but boy, I raced up the leg snapper. That kind of effort is effectively pretending like the top of the leg snapper is the end of the race for me. I've got to make that selection. I'm still tired here. Again, tacking onto the back of the group. And I sit in, we'll fast forward all the way through all of the flat rolling sections where I'm just sitting in. So the key there though was definitely, pedaling all the way over the top of the leg snapper, treating it like it was the finish line, because if I don't make that selection, I've got to fall back with the group behind me. I'm not going to re-catch on the downhill. You can see my other video for that, where I missed a gap, and it was just a 1 second gap, and the group never came back. I never saw them again the whole race. So mission accomplished. As we're making the rest of this lap through the flats, surveying the other people in the group, it's been whittled down, as you can tell, quite a bit. We had 35 riders going into that, and I don't know if we've got 12, 15 or so now. So probably half that group is gone. There are a couple of other C group riders in here with me, and so I want to make sure to stay with this group. I think I only saw 2 others, so I felt confident that if I can stay with this group, I would have a podium wrapped up. And that's assuming those other riders are not going to be over the power limits. I base all of my videos, all of my finish placements on zwiftpower.com, where you will be disqualified for being over 3.2 watts per kilogram in the C group, where there's enforcements of those limits. So I want to at least, stay with this group if there are other C group riders in there. And if they get disqualified, just sticking with the group might mean a win if they are over the limits and I am not. So I'm determined to stay with the group the whole race at a minimum and stay efficient. So here we go, back onto the cobbles, and yeah, it's hard effort this time through the cobbles, it seems. I was, a little over threshold, nothing severe, but when you've already done a lot of work to sit here and hold 300 watts, 295 to 310 through the cobbles, this was probably one of the faster laps. This second lap through the cobbles, first lap was reasonable. This lap was pretty hard. I remember thinking, oh my goodness, 300 watts, and now I've got to go climb the leg snapper. That's This is all in though. I gotta stay with the group. And so here we are on the lower slopes, and before you know it, it's an 8% climb, and everybody's hammering. Everybody's in the red though. I mean, you got to remember that when you're hurting, so are they. And I know it's going to be 500 watts again. I am pushing much harder than my last race here. Last race, I was doing 420, 430 watts, and this time it was 450 to 500 plus every time up the leg snapper. And I think I paced it well. I pushed myself more this time, and it worked. Here I am staying with this group that I want to be able to stay with. Heart rate's up into the mid 180s. I am just dreading this. I'm ready for it to be done and over with. And I want to stay hooked up with anybody and everybody I can. And yep, into the downhill. I got a super tuck for just a brief second there, or a couple seconds. Nobody else was doing that on either of these downhills. And yeah, don't know, those few seconds of relief were monumental to me. Now there were a couple of riders up the road a little bit who are faster over, and our group is able to re-catch those kind of one or two riders that get away up the road when you've got a group that's chasing from behind, putting in a bit of effort on the front. And here we go back down the other side, and yep, super tuck again. I was the only one doing that, and I'm staying super tucked while they're doing work. And try and not lose the wheel once you come out of the super tuck. Stay with the group. It's a little stretched out there, but we all regroup together. And we'll fast forward back through all this lap again. Got three riders up ahead. It stretches out right here a little bit as people are motivated to catch those stray riders up ahead. But stay together as a group, and I do my best to stay off the front at all costs. I mean, my goal and my thinking is just hang with this group and you're guaranteed a podium. That's all I was thinking. I was on my limit, and I wish the group would have slowed down a little bit so I could recover, but it's a race, and these guys are fast. They're almost all B group riders, and they're going to push me to my limits. And they absolutely did, because I was hanging on by a very, very thin thread. Just sitting in still, and pick back up at the cobble section again and the leg snapper. I'm glad I did this course again, because I feel like, I missed an opportunity the last video I did of this just a few weeks ago. And when I saw it pop up at a time that was good for me to race, I felt like I had kind of given myself a chance at some revenge to learn from my mistake and give myself an opportunity to race for the win. I've been riding quite a bit, and with fresh legs, I felt like it was a chance, a chance at a little bit of redemption. Forgot my towel, gotta wipe my face every few minutes, absolutely dying. And we're coming back into the cobbles here in a second on the last lap, and I felt like it was a little easier effort this time. Maybe the group realizes this is not a section where a selection is going to be made. I don't see these cobbles at 1-2%, and just because they're a little stiffer, resistance, nobody's getting dropped here. So it felt easier. I don't want to say easy, but it wasn't 305 watts the whole way through. You know, it was 250 to 290 instead of 290 to 310 kind of thing, you know, just 20 watts easier, which when you're on your limit is quite a bit. A 20-watt difference is quite a bit. Every lap I notice my heart rate at the bottom of the leg snapper is a little higher than the previous lap, you know, 3-4 beats higher, 5 beats higher, something like that. I think it was, you know, high 160s, low 170s, now I'm mid 170s. I am ultra determined right here to really stay with this group and not lose the wheels here. Just getting over this climb with them, I've probably already secured a podium in the C group, honestly. Even if I get dropped, you know, the group behind is more than a minute behind. They're not going to catch me in the last 2 miles, even if I've got to ride solo to the finish line. But I'm riding this again like the top of the hill is my finish line. I want to stay with these guys. I want to race for the win. If I blow up in the last 200 meters, at least I gave myself a chance to ride for the win. And so I am once again north of 500, 550 watts and want to go over the top of this hill together with these guys. Got a couple behind me, but also a group in front. And we're off onto the downhill. I don't think I super tuck. I had stopped pedaling. And then we hit that second little kicker. Over 300. Settling in with the group, and then ramp it up over the over this little kicker here. No matter what, staying with this group. Now the group splits here a little bit. You've got a solo rider and then a group of 2 or 3. These are small gaps, and it's strung out here. I do stop pedaling to super tuck, and I believe I super tuck again. Yep. Just for a second. Just for, I mean, 2-3 seconds maybe. And it's just kind of splintered apart up there, still a solo rider, but these little gaps all come together. People don't want to let anyone slip away with 1.5 miles left in a race at the end. Still a solo rider who gets brought back very quickly. This is all pretty safe, but you can tell it's single file. It's fast. And this was a fun finish here in the last mile. We're all in here together. Pace comes out of it a little bit after the hill, and all of a sudden someone's pushing the pace on the front again, because I see this start to go single file, and I notice it. I ramp up over 300 watts. You can see that rider off the front, and people are starting to push a little bit. You don't want to let anything slip away. Not right there. Not at the end of the race. And it's stretching out. You can see it's single file now coming into this corner. Everyone is working hard, making sure nobody on the front slips away. I'm comfortable here. You know, I've still got 1 mile left. I know I'm at the back of the group, or towards the back. That's fine for me in my position. I am absolutely dying, I will tell you that. Kind of blobs up a little bit here. We still have at least one other C group rider with me, and then this A group rider is the only A group in the blob here, takes off, and no one really takes up any chase. No one follows that. Nobody tries to chase that down. And so he's gone, 6 watts a kilo and does not, get chased down at all. I saw it go. I wanted to make sure I was towards the front, ready to follow if people wanted to follow that, but I was not going to bridge that or bring that back. And it's a lot of B group riders. And here goes a B group rider, takes up a long sprint off the front and gets a gap and just holds it. He's doing 5.5, 6 watts a kilo. And someone says, okay, time to go chase that down. A little too late, it was still a very good sprint. Gets a gap. And I apologize, the timing has been off on this video. I get beat at the line for the C group win. That rider was over power limits, so they didn't get the win on Zwift Power, but I went and died on the floor in pain. I was hurting pretty good from that. And there you go. 3.7 watts a kilo over limit gives me the win on Zwift Power. Jump ahead and show you the group. Third place was way over as well at 3.9. And yeah, it was a good, hard race. I'm going to go through Zwift Power here in a second. The other thing to note is this would have actually, my time and my finish spot would have given me third in the B group, believe it or not. So it was a very, very strong race for me. I don't know that they were the strongest fields. Here is Zwift Power. There I am for the win in first place. I got points. Actually, my best finish, which is the lowest score I've ever gotten to date, was this race. Well within the power limits. Very big lead over second place on Zwift Power, 2.5 minutes plus. And quite a bit to third place. So into the power numbers, if we look at raw watts, or excuse me, 95% way under limit, 2.9 raw watts. I actually held, as far as raw power, the best 15-second power of the race. And boy, what was it? 800 and some odd watts. Third place, or excuse me, 30-second power. I had the fourth best power in the race. And 1 minute power, I was only behind the A group, fifth best. Same thing for 5 minute power. So the power is there. Obviously, I'm a heavier rider, and well, I'm satisfied, happy with the results. My profile. There's the race. Filter only for races. Scored the points. It's good for my overall ranking. And you can see here, since January, when I've kind of been serious about getting back into the races, I've been scoring well, as you can see there, in the low 400s. And rank has come up. I think I'm in the top 1700 now overall in the C category. Would like to keep improving on that, obviously, as best I can. The results have been coming since January. I've got a win, a fourth, a fifth, a win, a third, and now another win. So 3 wins in 6 races. So that's awesome. And another podium in there. So it's been going real well. Been training hard for this, and I'm pretty happy with it. And there you go. You can see we sort by time. I would have been the third place finisher in the B group had I raced as a B. Maybe would have scored some more points. I do want to kind of compare power to the other racers that finished, you know, within a couple seconds of my time. And it's a nice little feature of zwiftpower.com. Again, if you're not on zwiftpower.com, go register over there, link up your Zwift account. This is the official race results location, and it's a great tool. People who are over power limits, category limits, don't qualify. So I'm going to throw up several of the other riders there. You can see my blue line, this is raw wattage, is, you know, I'm making good power across the board. Watts per kilo, I'm good down in the sprint and not as good. Once you get about, you know, 30 seconds to a minute, I start to swing down low. To be expected for a heavier rider, you know, a higher raw wattage, a lower watts per kilo. It's to be expected. So kind of see 15-second power, 30-second power, how I stack up. And these again are just the racers that finished within a couple seconds of me. 1 minute power, I'm still on top, raw wattage, and 2 minute power. You go out to the 5. 5.5 was actually harder than 5 because it contained 2 different hard efforts. 20-minute power, watts per kilo. Here I am, you know, near the top, second best. 30-second power, I've now dropped almost to the bottom. And some of these guys may have not sprinted for the line. You know, very possible they were just done with the race. Not everyone sprints at the end. And by the time you get out to the 5+ minute power in watts per kilo, that ratio, I'm down low on bottom of the barrel out of this group of guys. Hey, that's it for this one. Like and subscribe. I will keep bringing more videos.